U.S. officials revealed today. They're saying that the enemy drone here approached at about the same time that a U.S. drone was returning to base. How does this sort of confusion happen? Break down for us the technology at play. When something is coming in, how do you know that's not our drone or that is?
I think that probably what we're seeing here is actually a brand new technique. It's something that hasn't been tried before. Most likely what these militia members have been doing has been conducting reconnaissance on our sites. They've been watching, they've been seeing how we come in, how we go out, how we launch these intelligence drones that we have to do reconnaissance. And they probably have, especially if there was any kind of normal pattern and normal flight pattern for these things, they probably timed it out to where they were ready to launch at the same time. And when you're sitting there watching these things on a radar, I mean, it's not like sometimes you see on TV where everything is a blip and it's easily identified. You could be seeing something you expect to be seeing coming in, and all of a sudden there's one, maybe two, and you're not sure. And all it takes is a few seconds of uncertainty, and that thing can come through, and we see the deadly results.
As Courtney was just explaining there, President Biden is working through options for retaliation right now. At least that's what she's being told by officials and other sources at the Pentagon. The United States, as she was explaining, they have retaliated before in an instance like this, right? But it was more targeted attacks after there were moments, tensions, issues, missiles fired by Houthi rebels in the Red Sea. But all of those were incredibly targeted. They were targeting where militia members supposedly kept weapons, things like that. Courtney is saying that she is being told this retaliation is going to look different. From your point of view, what is the most effective, plausible avenue of retaliation here?
Well, you asked the right question. What's the most effective? And that means what is going to be the most beneficial for the United States? And I know that emotionally, everybody wants to have some big punishing strike and really hurt Iran, because I know you actually showed a couple of scenes there. There's been many more American figures have been saying we need to go and hit Iran, hit them hard, like Lindsey Graham has been saying. But look, you have to answer before you launch one missile, and then what? What comes next? We've lost 3 troops right now, and it was anguishing to me to sit here and watch the family members of that one specialist as you were talking. As someone who's seen people die in combat, it's just heart-wrenching to me. But I don't want to see any more. And so we need to make sure we don't do something that's going to cause an automatic and an expected retaliation even larger coming back. And I can assure you, Iran does have an ability to escalate things if we strike inside of Iran proper. Now, Americans have been killed, so we do have to take a response, but I think it needs to be targeted against the people who did this, and that's probably Kataib Hezbollah and some of these other groups in Iraq and Syria. That's appropriate and reasonable. But if we go beyond that and go into Iran proper, then we could be unleashing holy hell that God only knows where it could end up, and we better be ready for that before one missile gets launched.
You're touching there on the danger of going too far. Is there a danger here of not going far enough with some sort of retaliation?
Well, look, for sure, all of these so-called messages that we've been trying to send, and we've been talking about how, you know, we've been very clear on this. Look, it hadn't had any deterrent effect. None of the stuff in the Red Sea has had a deterrent effect. These things in Iraq and in Syria haven't had a deterrent effect because they're willing to pay the price on this. That's the bottom line. That's why the most effective strategy we can do, which I've been advocating for years to prevent this very outcome, is to withdraw our troops from Iraq and Syria. This, frankly, nonsense that Kirby's been saying earlier today about how we have an important counter-ISIS mission still going on is simply not true. It's basically the same as saying we're trying to drain a swimming pool with an eyedropper in a rainstorm. It doesn't make any difference. It doesn't keep us safe, but it does put our troops at risk. And then it puts us in a position like this to where we, to try to respond, could actually escalate into a war that nobody in America needs or wants. And we need to avoid that at all costs so there's not more American casualties.